Okay, so your phone, it's been buzzing since what, Wednesday afternoon? And you haven't answered any of it, have you? Because, you don't actually know which one matters. Not yet.
Oh, tell me about it, Amara. It's just, noise, really. So much noise.
Exactly. So here's the question I want us to hold on to this hour. What is it that a market can actually see at 4 o'clock on a Thursday when a newsroom still, can't see it even at 5?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because people always talk about being ahead of the curve, but this is different.
It really is. Marcus, I want to start with something kind of strange about the calendar, like the 23rd of April, within roughly 6 hours of each other, right? 3 bodies that have no institutional connection to each other whatsoever, a circuit court in Tazewell County, Virginia, a pretrial chamber at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, and then this quiet set of prediction market contracts in Manhattan that just, refuse to move. Each of them, they moved in the same direction at the same time. And none of them knew the others were moving, but they moved together.
Wow. And that, Amara, is the part people keep sliding past. Because if you really read the newspaper coverage, each of those gets filed under its own narrative, right? A Duterte story, a Virginia redistricting story, a Supreme Court composition watch. They're 3 separate stories, 3 separate beats, 3 separate reporters probably. And the thing is, the reader is never ever told that they're the same story, just told 3 times by 3 bodies who don't speak to each other. It's wild.
It is wild. Let me just name what they did. So Judge Jack Hurley in that circuit court in Tazewell County, he ruled that the Virginia constitutional amendment authorizing mid-decade congressional redistricting couldn't be certified, like that the legislature had acted outside the scope of its special session and hadn't satisfied, the postage requirement. 2.5 million ballots, just in procedural limbo, 24 hours after the election. And then Attorney General Jay Jones, he filed for appeal to the Virginia Supreme Court before most people had even finished their dinner.
Yeah, and if you read that decision carefully, what's really underneath it is a judge treating a timing rule as a hard rule, right? Like the kind you don't get to negotiate with because you lost the intervening week. The legislature, though, they treated the same rule as just like a number you could adjust if you needed the calendar to come out a certain way. So one of them, Amara, is right about what a rule is. The other one is going to lose on appeal or win on appeal. But either way, the court has spoken about what category of object it was looking at. And that category was just not negotiable.
Oh, that's so key. Not negotiable. Okay, so then we have the ICC panel. Judge Motuk presiding, Judge Adapini Gansul, Judge Flores Liera. They issued this unanimous 50-page decision confirming all 3 crimes against humanity charges against the former Philippine president. And the jurisdictional argument his team had been running, was that the Philippines had withdrawn from the Rome Statute, so the court just lacked authority to proceed. And the panel said, you withdrew after the investigation began. The withdrawal it doesn't reach back, period.
Boom. Same structural move, right? Withdrawal, treated by the accused as a dial you can turn at the moment that costs you least, and the exposure zeroes out. But the panel, they treat withdrawal as a fence you walked across. You don't get to reach backward through the calendar to unbuild the fence. And suddenly, Amara, 539 relatives of drug war victims now have participation rights in what comes next. That's a number with faces behind it, It's not just abstract.
Wow, 539. And then the piece that almost no one read, because it was just a number on a prediction market website updating itself. The Kalshi contract that tracks any change in Supreme Court composition before the 1st of July settled at 0.96, no change. And the contract on Justice Gorsuch specifically leaving, 0.04, which, means Capital is pricing a 96% probability that the bench you watched on April 1st is the bench that will rule in Trump v. Barbara.
Okay, that's the one, Amara, I really want to slow down on. Because that number, that 4 cents, it's doing analytical work the narrative isn't crediting it for. The emotional coverage of this court this year has been relentless, right? Legitimacy crisis, institutional collapse, constitutional rupture. You can pick any op-ed, truly. And while that coverage has been running, though, serious money has been sitting on the other side of the trade. 4 cents. The people willing to pay 4 cents for Gorsuch leaves before July are not people who think the narrative is right. They are people who have looked at the tea leaves from oral argument and decided the tea leaves say something different. It's fascinating.
Oh, totally fascinating. Which brings me to April 1st. The sitting president was in the courtroom, right? The first time that has ever happened during oral argument in a case concerning his own executive order. And the Solicitor General, Sauer, makes what he called the New World argument, that the constitutional order has changed enough, that the 14th Amendment reads differently now. And Chief Justice Roberts comes back. And this is the line that moved the market, not the news cycle. It's the same Constitution. 4 words. Amy Coney Barrett, skeptical from the bench. Gorsuch, skeptical. 3 Republican appointees, 2 of them Trump appointees, treating the argument the way you treat a piece of furniture that arrived in the wrong room. You know.
Yup, exactly. That's the tea leaf. That's what the 4 cents is reading. The markets aren't predicting the ruling. They're pricing the signal from the oral argument, and they're pricing it against a narrative that hasn't yet absorbed it, which is the gap. That's the gap.
Name the gap for me, Marcus. Like, what is it?
Okay, so Kalshi prices the executive order ending birthright citizenship at 0.08 probability of effective implementation in 2026, 8%. Legal commentary, though, reading the same oral argument, like SCOTUS blog Amy Howe's analysis from April 1st, they put implementation probability around 0.3, 30%. The difference, Amara, is -22. -22 is not noise. -22 is the distance between what the analytical narrative is prepared to say out loud and what the people with money on the line have already decided is true. It's a huge, huge chasm.
Wow, -22. And for the person listening to this who hasn't spent their week on Kalshi, what does that gap actually mean at the level of their kitchen table? Because it has to mean something at the level of the kitchen table, or we're just, trading numbers.
Absolutely. It has to mean something. So Education Week ran reporting this month on school districts preparing enrollment protocols for a world where that executive order survives, right? Intake forms, documentation requirements, training for front office staff. That's what the 30% position looks like when it descends into a building. And the 8% position, the capital position, looks like districts that haven't done any of that preparation because the people pricing the risk have decided they don't need to. Same building, same week, 2 completely different preparation postures depending on which price the superintendent is operating on. One of them is wasting budget. One of them is going to get blindsided. We won't know which until early July.
Gosh, that's so stark. Which, it takes me to Virginia, because the poly market contract on house control after 2026 repriced on the referendum. Democratic House odds moved from 73.4 to 78.2 after the vote. Then the Tazewell County ruling comes down, and the Capitol has to decide whether to move that number back, given that 2.5 million ballots are now contingent on a Virginia Supreme Court review. Meanwhile, Kalshi on the same question is sitting with Republican House control at 0.62. 2 markets, the same underlying question, and they disagree by more than 20 points on the outcome. But they agree on the mechanism. Both of them are pricing procedural response as the controlling variable. It's so clever.
Yeah, that's the sentence, Amara, I want people to hold on to. The markets disagree on who wins the midterm. They do not disagree on the machine that determines it. The machine, according to every serious book of money on the table, is procedure. Whether the rulings hold, whether the amendments get certified, whether the ballots count. And what both markets are doing is watching the procedural motion as the leading indicator and letting the political outcome just, follow. It's a profound difference in perspective.
Right. Who benefits from that gap remaining open, though? Like, if the narrative is behind the market, who's gaining?
Everyone who took a position based on it. Polymarket has logged $5.5 million traded on the midterm balance of power contract alone as of the 23rd. That's not retail money, Amara. That's institutional positioning that has already been placed on procedural resilience as the base case. The longer the narrative runs behind the pricing, the longer those positions get to appreciate undisturbed. The gap truly is the profit.
And I want to be careful here because I don't want to leave the listener with the clean version. You know, the clean version is markets know best, narrative is behind. That is not the story I think we're inside at all.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. The markets are pricing what they can see. What they can't see is where the pressure migrates when the visible procedural channels hold, because it doesn't stop, it just moves. And that's the part I want to name before the hour closes.
If that -22 gap resolves in the direction the capital has priced, if Trump v. Barbara comes down by late June or early July, and the birthright citizenship order gets confined to narrow implementation, the pressure, Amara, it doesn't dissipate, it compresses. It compresses into places where procedural visibility is weakest, prosecutorial discretion at the border that never reaches a docket, funding denials to municipalities that can't afford the appeal, visa revocations where the affected party has already left the country and there's no one left to file a brief. Those are the places the markets can't price because there's no contract to write, no docket to watch, no circuit court ruling to publish. And the timeline on which that migration becomes visible as a pattern is 12 to 18 months, not next week, not the midterm. After the ruling closes the visible front, the machinery moves where the lights aren't on.
Oh, that's chilling, actually. What you're holding now, listener, is the instrument. The -22 gap isn't the story. The story is the places the procedural machine hasn't been tested yet, and the signal that tells you when the administration has accepted the machine it can see and moved to the spaces it can't. So here's the fork. 3 rulings coming in order. The Virginia Supreme Court on the Tazewell County decision, any day now, briefs are already filed. Then the Trump v. Barbara opinion by late June or early July. Then the composition of the ICC trial chamber. The one to watch first, though, not because it's the largest, but because it's the earliest tell, is any notice of proposed rulemaking from the White House on Immigration and Nationality Act revisions. If that notice appears in the Federal Register before the Supreme Court rules, the administration has just told you it treats the expected ruling as binding in either direction. That's when the -22 gap starts closing, and it closes fast. Watch the Federal Register.
Before we go deeper, truly, a heartfelt thank you to all of you tuning in. Your curiosity fuels these conversations. If you're finding this as compelling as we do, please hit that like button. Leave us a comment with your thoughts. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss a single beat of what's unfolding.
Absolutely, Amara. And that Federal Register, for those who might typically overlook its pages, is becoming our most crucial barometer. It's the silent hum of the procedural machine, signaling its next shift into less visible channels.
A silent hum indeed, Marcus, because the truly potent moves often aren't announced with fanfare. They're etched in bureaucratic language, tucked away for those with the patience to truly look, to truly feel the shift in the currents.
And that's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? The difference between being blindsided by a policy shift that impacts millions and being prepared because you understood the subtle tell, the early warning system we've just laid out.
Precisely. The dance between what's visible and what's deliberately hidden. And as we continue to unpack these layers, remember, the most significant stories often whisper before they roar. Stay with